everyone. So we are going to be working on your first set of notes that's in that big yellow note packet that you picked up in your supply pickup. So this is what you picked up in supply pickup. There's a whole bunch of things in here. The last pages are graph paper, but the first pages are notes. So there's some pages in here that are notes, there's some pages in here that are worksheets, and so on. So we're going to start on this. So everyone make sure that you have your note packet out. Sorry, I'm just looking at something real quick. Okay. All right, so what is slope? Slope is also called the rate of change. So anything I write on here, guys, you guys should be following along on your note packet and writing it in also so you have these as a reference guide. It's my rise over my run. So my change in x on a coordinate grid, right? Over my change in y. Or, I'm sorry. Change in y over change in x. My fault. Because rise, if we think about a coordinate grid, so coordinate grid is this guy. Up and down, so rise would be my y-axis. Left and right, my run would be my x-axis. Okay? So it's the steepness of a line. And if I think about that, if I think about skiing and going down a slope, like the bunny hill is least steep, the black hill is the most steep, so the steepness of a hill. So if I'm thinking about walking on the ground, okay, the slope of just a normal floor, like at your house, is a zero slope. So 0, then we get bigger. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to straight up and down, vertical, which it has infinite or undefined slope, undefined slope. And I remember that because I can't walk a wall. It's not possible, so we call it undefined. How to find slope given a graph. So what we're doing in the first week or two is this is complete review. So this is all stuff that you've learned before, but we just want to kind of go over it again, okay? So how to find slope given a graph. I'm going to find 2 points on my graph. So here's a point and here's a point, right? And we know it's my change in y's over my change in x's or my rise over my run. What I always do is I always start at my bottom point. So this is my bottom point, and I'm going to count up. I go up 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, right? So that's a positive 3. If I'm going up, it's positive. If I'm going down, it is negative. So my rise is 3 over. Now my run, I go backwards 1, 2. I'm going backwards. Since I'm going backwards, it's a negative 2. If I were going forward, so forward is positive and up is positive. But backwards is negative and down is negative. Okay? So this is my slope, 3 over negative 2. Typically, you will see that written as negative 3 over 2, where the negative sign's with the top number. If both of these numbers were negative, then it would become a positive slope because a negative over a negative makes a positive. How I want you to enter this into Schoology. You will type negative 3/2, no spaces. Okay, that is your slope. Okay, same thing here. Here's a point, and here's a point. I'm actually going to go all the way up to, I'm going to start at this bottom point and go all the way to the top point. I rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I rise 6, so that's a positive 6, and I run 1, 2, and it's to the right, so it's positive. But if I can reduce this, I'm going to. So this is actually equal to 3 over 1. Which is equal to just 3. Okay, so that's a positive 3 slope. Had I gone from this point to this point, I would have gone up 1, 2, 3, and over 1, so 3 over 1. So it's just the reduced of that. Now, slope, we don't ever want as a decimal, because if we have it as a decimal, like 1.5 over 1, it doesn't make sense on a coordinate grid to go over 1.5. We want to go over whole numbers. So it would be the whole number over our whole number. Okay. How to find slope given 2 points. So in this case, what you're going to do is you're actually going to use the formula. You're going to do y2 minus y1, so make sure to write this down, over x2 minus x1. Well, what does that 2 and that 1 mean? So that means the second y and the first y, or the second x and the first x. I always think of my first point as being my 1's, and my second point as being my 2's. So I'm looking for the second y. Remember, we write a point as x comma y. So my second y, first point, second point, y comes second, so it'd be 10. We always subtract minus my first y. My first y is negative 1 over my second x, so that'd be second x, 4, minus my first x, which is 6. Two negatives make a positive, so I'm going to change both those to positive. 10 plus 1 is 11. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Again, remember we typed that into the Chromebook or into Schoology as negative 11 over 2. Circle my answer. All right, let's do the next one. Second y, negative 13, minus first y, negative 8, over second x, minus my first x, negative 1. Two negatives make a positive. Two negatives make a positive. The negatives have to be sitting right next to each other. Negative 13 plus 8 is negative 5. 3 plus 1 is 4. Does not reduce. That's my answer. Bad thing about this part, guys, is that I make mistakes. Just like you guys, I make mistakes with my math all the time. If I make a mistake on the video, I don't have my class sitting here telling me, hey, you made a mistake. So if I make a mistake on this video, probably you're right, I did make a mistake, and just ignore it. And you can email me if you want to verify that it was a mistake or put it into the message board, okay, discussion board. I want you to pause me. I want you to do 5 and 6 on your own, then come back and check those. I'm going to go through these two real quick. Negative 50 minus 8 over 100 minus 7. So hopefully you had already paused me. You did these problems, and now you're coming back to check. Negative 58 over 93. I don't believe that that reduces. This one, 3 minus 0 over 0 minus 0. 3 over 0. Okay, if I type this into my calculator, so a way to remember this. 3 divided by 0 gives me an error because you cannot divide by 0. So that means that this is an undefined slope. What does that mean for the line? That means the line is straight vertical. Let's say it was 0 over 3. 0 divided by 3. Oops, clear. 0 divided by 3 equals 0. That means it's a 0 slope. That means it is a horizontal line because that has no slope. This was my answer on that one. All right, next page. This packet's so big I can't even fold over the sheets. Okay, so undefined 0, positive, and negative lines, label each on the graph. Okay, so we're going to do undefined first. Undefined is just a vertical line going straight up and down. A 0 slope is horizontal flat, so it's a right and left line. It doesn't matter where on the grid I'm putting these because it just wants that type of line. Positive slope. Okay, so positive slope means it's going up from left to right. So as you read it, like you read a book, it has to be going up. So from left to right, I'm going to be going up. So that's an example of a positive slope. Therefore, a negative slope goes down from left to right as you read it. Okay? So find the slope given the table. So here's a point, and here's a point. I'm going to take those 2 points out. 1, 2, 3, 6. Once I've taken those 2 points out, I can then just use my formula of y2 minus y1, so 6 minus 2, over 3 minus 1. 6 minus 2 is 4. 3 minus 1 is 2. 4 divided by 2 gives me a whole number, so my slope is just 2. Same thing here. It does not matter what 2 points you choose, guys. I could choose this 5 and 8, this 9 and 16. If it were a line, then it's going to have the same slope from any 2 points on that line. Okay? So here, 5, 8, 9, 16. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 16 minus 8 is 8. 9 minus 5 is 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So another slope of 2. Those are positive slopes, so they're going to be going up from left to right. All right, so a word problem. Okay, our favorite, right? A climber's on a hike. After 2 hours, he's at an altitude of 400. So 2 hours, he's at an altitude of 400. There's my first point. After 6 hours, he's at an altitude of 700. What is his average rate of change? Again, average rate of change just means slope. How much is it changing every time? So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 700 minus 400 is 300. 6 minus 2 is 4. 4 does go into 300. I can get my calculator. You can get your calculator. I'm going to do 300 divided by 4. It's 75. So 75 is my slope. Go ahead and pause me. Try 10 on your own. When you're done, unpause me, and we'll see how you did. A plane left Chicago. So hopefully you already tried this, right? Plane left Chicago at 8 a.m. At 1 a.m., the plane landed in Los Angeles, which is 1,500 miles away. So at 1 p.m., they are at 1,500, right? At 1 p.m. At 8 p.m., they're at 0. Now, those are not my two numbers. This is where this one's tricky. Because 8 a.m. is actually my starting point, so that's at 0, at hour 0. I'm at miles 0. So instead of at 8 a.m., I'm at hour 0. Like, we haven't started before 8 a.m. We're going to start at 8 a.m. That's my starting point. That's when I'm starting the race. So you got to think of it kind of like track. You may be starting at marker 100 meter or something, I'm not sure. But that's really your starting point. So that starting point is 0. You've gone 0. Then, after, at 1 p.m., well, how many hours later is that? So we have 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1. So that's 5 hours later, I've gone 1,500 miles. Okay, this one's super tricky. Now I do y2, which is 1,500, minus y1, which is 0, over 5 minus 0, 1,500 over 5. 1,500 is divisible by 5, so if I take my calculator and I divide that out, I get 300. Since I know what we're talking about, I can go miles per hour. That's what I should do up here also, right? This is 75, what, feet per hour? Yes. Okay. This guy. So I'm going to upload this as a PDF after this video. I want for you to complete this using annotations. I'm going to put in an annotations video on how to do this. And then you're going to upload your document after you've annotated it. You will also have a Schoology homework assignment. So, first section, you have the notes. You have this page to annotate, which just means I want you to solve it on the paper on your Chromebook. And then I want you to do the Schoology assignment. And then we will get into the next set of notes. All right, guys, thank you. Have a good one.